It's important to understand that not everyone can buy a shoe for 120 or 150 euros, but everyone wants to take part in the same trends. Björn Gulden, Adidas CEO, in Footwear News just a couple of days ago. Welcome everyone to Onboard, Excite, Sell, how Adidas and Tradebyte use technology to boost marketplace growth. My name is Steffen and I'm the head of enterprise for Tradebyte, so I'm overseeing all major brand relationships at Tradebyte. And today, I hope that you take three things away from this talk. A, our collaboration with Adidas and how we took it to the next level in a new form. Secondly, our new solution called TV Demand Match. And three, hopefully, with a spark to think about how you can launch your products in the best way, steer demand, and think about, okay, marketplace business, limited editions, fast sellers, that's not a no-go anymore. And many of you know, before my time at Tradebyte, I was 16 years at Adidas, so I'm really honored and grateful to have Xavier with me today as a partner in crime. And for the Germans in the audience, my name is Hack, and there's a German podcast that is called Gemischtes Hack, and they always play 5 schnelle Fragen an to get to know each other a bit better. That's why I've prepared 5 schnelle Fragen, 5 quick questions to Xavier, that the audience gets to know Xavier a bit better.
Hi,
Xavier.
I'm ready for it.
You're ready for it? Perfect. Xavier, how long are you with Adidas?
It will be soon 9 years, 10 years next year, so almost there.
A long history.
Long time, yes.
And your favorite Adidas product, what would you say?
On a day-to-day, my beautiful handbag special, you can see, or on the running day, the Adizero Pro 3.
Good. Thank you. Yes, the second one. What's your number one song right now?
Very difficult one. I need to take some time to find it, but it's, let's say, Nice to Meet You from Imagine Dragons.
Interesting.
Yes.
Do you use it also for running? No.
Yeah, it's quite pumpy for running, so that's pretty good.
Cool. Next one. What 3 items do you take on any trip?
So my running shoes or hiking shoes, depending on where we go. That's the first thing. Orders, of course, Adidas ones. Coming from the north of Europe, definitely a hat. I don't handle the sun too much, so yes, definitely need it. And yeah, I'm not going to lie. I think I take my phone also. Always useful, even though I would remove the notification from work.
Okay, so no emails from me. Okay.
No.
An interesting one for this audience, I think. What do you like about the marketplace business? Why are you in this field?
I mean, I was working before coming to the marketplace business at Adidas. I was working in our own e-commerce team. I think in 2015 this was the growing part, and I see the same now with the marketplace business already for a few years. This is something where there is still a lot to discover, and it's such a fast pace and such new things to do. And you will show a few examples of what we created together. I think that fast pace and that forever changing environment is what drives me on the day-to-day for sure.
And of course, the final question has to be, who is going to be European champion in a couple of days?
Very easy, right? I mean, pretty easy. Belgium for sure. So yes, Adidas team on top of that. So everything goes together. That's very easy.
We might agree to disagree here, but I'll fight.
Thank you.
Alrighty, let's deep dive into the topic. When you look in media right now at the moment, Adidas seems to be on fire. You increase the outlook, you see a lot of people, a lot of consumers wearing your shoes. I see Instagram, TikTok full of Adi. Can you tell us a bit more about that, please?
Yes, I mean, as I said, I joined almost 9 years ago now. We were already on the hype at that time with the ones that remember really with Ultra Boost, with NMD and so on. And since then, that has not always been like this. So the last few years have been a little bit more challenging. COVID was a bit of a special moment, of course, for everyone. After that, we had few relationships and collaborations that ended that were quite painful. But what is very good, and maybe our new CEO is a bit linked to that, coming from the other side of the street. But in the last year and a half, 2 years, we see extremely good momentum within the brand, and it's a good time to be at Adidas for sure.
I've seen that, because when I look at consumers right now at the moment, I've just put out some articles from Jennifer Lawrence wearing the always sold out sneakers, to Jen said, actually really resonating with a lot of the styles that are, I think, classics, like the Adidas Samba, the Handball Spezial, the Campus, etc. I was wondering, how are those trends built? Because do they just pop up, or how do you steer it a bit at Adidas?
So I think that's why it changed quite a lot in the last years. I mean, I'm not the best expert to share about that, but the big changes for sure is that in the past, our marketing teams had the beautiful calendar years in advance, trying to put the products to our consumers. I think the big difference now is that it actually comes from the consumer themselves most of the time, and that actually then it's all about being able to react to it. So the speed from the moment it comes from the fashion shows, or as you can you just showed it from Jennifer Lawrence or any others. I mean, we had Harry Styles also had a big push.
Drinking out of the shoe.
Exactly. If you've not seen that, look at it. It's quite interesting how it goes quickly from generate just trends that we didn't really control, we didn't really ask for. Harry Styles is not at all sponsored by Adidas, so that's an interesting way to see it. Yeah. But it's all about being able to see, okay, this is happening. How can we actually capitalize from that?
When I look at normal product life cycles, you normally do a launch, you hype it a bit, then you see increase in demand, there's a tipping point, saturation, and then you exit the concept. But I'm wondering, looking at Samba, Handball Spezials that I'm wearing, so these are actually concepts that are pretty old-fashioned. Yes. What do you say to that one a bit?
Yeah. I mean, the Samba was a football shoe from the 80s, right? So that tells you a lot. Football shoes have changed since then. But it's quite interesting. I mean, these are, of course, big kudos to our teams internally, but it's really about a lot of people are first looking for retro-looking shoes, whether it's running related or sports related. But it's also important to see how can you actually not overeat the whole market all at once. So as you've seen, we worked with some influencers, but also with key partners, also to put the products a little bit first as very limited quantities, and then at some point it builds up to the mass market.
So later on, you want to ignite, but not overheat.
Yeah. If you put it all together, never going to work, right? Otherwise, there is never this need of the product that will never really grow on the consumer side.
But, Xavier, what do you say to this? Prime Minister of UK actually rocking the Adidas Samba that actually cost, I would say, almost a shitstorm, saying, please stop wearing the Sambas, the really on-trend shoes. What do you say about that one right now?
Yeah, we didn't really know what this would mean for the trend, to be honest. I think the best answer to that is, if there are haters or if there are people that think that it's the end, that means they speak about it, which means it actually helps people to think, maybe I actually like this picture. I actually like this shoe. And it's completely the opposite from what we see, what these people say. It's for sure not ending. There was not even an effect from the Prime Minister. And luckily for us, that didn't really kill it. But it's good to see that a lot of people like to wear our products.
Amazing. And let's also talk a bit about segmentation, how you see your demand across the various, let's say, retailers or channels. When I talk to brands, like typically you have kind of a pyramid. You have at the top, you have specialists, either fashion or sports. Then you have in the middle the generalists that help you scale and reach a really wide consumer audience. And then at the bottom, last but not least, always commercial channels, as I call them. How do you play it at Adidas a bit?
For us, everyone has a different role to play. You've shown the headline from our CEO Bjorn earlier. All the consumers don't want to buy these collabs that we were showing earlier that are like maybe €200 plus. Some consumers just want to buy a €60 shoe as well, and it's very important to understand who plays which role, and make sure that you capitalize on it and make sure that you play with everyone in the industry to actually cover these topics. There are some very beautiful shoes as we have that are maybe mid-price point. There are the collabs that are actually a little bit higher price point, but there are also some products that are lower price point that look very much the same, that some other people want to actually wear. So that's quite, that's where...
So you want to highlight it in comms, the main shoe, but then also across your commercial channels, you want to make sure there's a kind of effect.
Exactly. So there are definitely, everyone has a different role to play. And that's very important to understand, to cover the full demand that you have as a brand and that you generate with these key products.
Cool. Thanks a lot for sharing the insights and about, let's say, the problem. I also want to deep dive a bit now into the marketplace dilemma.
Yes.
I think historically we have been facing a couple of hurdles when it comes to controlling, steering your demand, and also launching properly. What's your take on that? What were your main pain points the last couple of quarters?
I think looking over the last year since I moved to the marketplace business, I think a few years ago we were throwing products at Tradebyte and let's see when it goes live. Let's see what happens. And sometimes it was taking months to actually onboard one single product, where we know we have thousands of products that are being launched every season. So the whole dilemma is how can you actually grow your business being efficient to actually put it all together, whether the product onboarding is one of the best example, where in the past we had only a few partners, but we were struggling to actually get products on these partners. Now that we have a larger pool of partners that we work with, we still manage to onboard a very high maturity of our products. This is really where we actually had a great success, but also only when it's onboarded, it doesn't mean that you can play with, for example, I don't know, like one stock pool, for example, or one warehouse, or one, because you're going to have oversell, you're going to have cancellations, and the impact that goes with it, like low visibility and these kind of things. So for us, very important to be able to control these and work with Tradebyte to actually make sure that these problems are reduced as much as possible, and if possible, are completely disappearing.
I remember a lot of emails from you from the past as well, to saying the content is not live, or we have problems with prices, or etc. So it's definitely not easy to onboard articles in the marketplace world. And something that I got to experience as well is the error 404, the article is offline or should not be offline. And a classic is a brand changes its opinion last minute. Let's say there's an influencer collaboration and you want to launch a product at 10 a.m. Monday morning. But in the world, something is happening at 9 a.m. An attack, something else, politics or whatever. And the whole social media attention is towards that topic. So you don't want to launch, because commercial launch and the marketing launch should not be, split. You want to maximize impact. And sometimes you want to hinder your article to go actually live, but it's too late because of slow APIs, because you already went through the onboarding process, etc. So that's a key problem that I've seen with brands as well. So what did we do, Xavier? Or we're trying to do?
So we had a lot of discussions, Haki and I, trying to understand, okay, how can we actually overcome that? What are our key challenges between our brands and Tradebyte? And how can we actually work on this to actually go better? We are actually 3 different work streams. One was, how can we go to market faster with new partners? How can we actually be more efficient? There was one. How can we actually just make sure that any product is on board? How can we make that more efficient? Not have too many resources working on it. Yep. And then the last one we're going to focus on today is really, if there is a product that is on high demand, how are we actually tackling that? Making sure that we don't sell it, we don't oversell, and making sure that we don't have these cancellations that are painful for us, but also for the consumers, more importantly. Making sure if you have a very high demand product and you manage to buy it and then you get a cancellation email, I'm sure you can get pissed about it. And so we really wanted to reduce this impact and work together on this with the two companies together. And I think you're going to present how it's going to look like.
I think also for Tradebyte, it was an important moment when Xavier actually told me, let's work together a little more midterm, because it's all about, not the next integration, not the next season of article onboarding. It was really to think about, where does the marketplace business involve? And you've seen that trends, demanded products, and steering the demand is an important topic for us. And that's why the brief to my product team, our product team at Tradebyte was pretty simple. Let's give back the power to the brands to steer and launch properly. And the outcome is TB Demand Match. And that's on a feature that we've rolled out, tested successfully with Adidas, I think a couple of launches already. And the feature is actually consisting of 3 different elements. The first element is pre-onboarding. Pre-onboarding is actually making sure that your products get live when they should. So the content, the prices, everything gets prepared. And then there are 2 possibilities how your articles can go live. Either via so-called active from date. So once that date is reached, the article goes live. But that's actually pretty slow, Xavier.
Yeah.
I think main issues were only 50% of the retailers supported it.
Exactly. So that's the important part. We speak about pre-onboarding. For us, is an extremely important piece where we can actually work in advance to make sure that everything is ready. But it's not yet there for the consumer because we need to make sure that it goes live at a specific day, specific time. When you have marketing pushing a specific product on a specific time, you don't want to have it live 2 days before. You don't want to have it live the day after, neither 10 days later.
Yep.
So and we've experienced that many times.
We did.
So
And we take care of article onboarding by our edit services team, and they found also another solution, which is the zero stock solution. So what we do is actually prepare content, prices, and everything needed, have a zero stock until 15 minutes before the launch, inject a new file, and boom, the article is live when they should be. So we might have a delay of 15 minutes, but can really guarantee that the marketing calendar and the really, let's say, hardcore date is reached. The second element of the solution is the multi-warehouse stock allocation. What is it? Brands like Adidas can send us 1 feed, 2 feeds, 3 feeds from multiple warehouses across Europe. And what these feeds can contain is a so-called flag. It's a fast seller. It's a limited edition. It's something that is really important to me. And this flag has also a allocation with it. So basically what we have is, let's say Handball Spezial. You want to launch 10,000 pieces, 5,000 at Zalando, 4,000 at JD, 3,000 at ASOS. We can really combine this and your stock is ring-fenced. So we can make sure that not the whole stock pool of 10,000 is with every retailer, but it's really controlled and steered dynamically. And the interesting part of it is also during the day, you can change it based on your demand. And what it allows you is fair launches. You can give access to many retailers, and you know the retailer relationship is very important, and you can guarantee a fair launch and can really steer and control the demand. And the third element, yes, analytics. Basically onboarding, you want to make sure that everything is fine, correctly set up, and we are also using our technology mapping intelligence to do most of it automated. But during the launch, we want to make sure that we have monitoring and alerting in place, export checks, onboarding checks, is everything fine? And right after that, we do something called read and react, which is basically making sure that Xavier has an opportunity to change its mind during the day. Zalando is doing well, ASOS is not, you shift around. And I really believe it's a first step into a next evolution, but I'm wondering what those next evolution steps could be in this field, Xavier.
I mean, the first thing we're speaking now about, we were already speaking about let's onboard it on a specific date. Now it becomes even more crucial to do it at a specific time, because if you do releases of the recent Euro football jerseys, for example, like, do we actually want to launch it at the same time as everyone in the market? And we already work on that from a wholesale perspective, making sure that everyone drops it at a specific time at, I don't know, 10 a.m. or something. Are we actually able to do that? In the past, it has always been marketplace is not the place for that, because marketplace is very unreliable. Marketplace is not ready to be able to do that. And now, with these functionalities and the work that we've done together, we are able to convince people internally, actually, marketplace business is able to do that. We can also have managed the relationship with our retailers through that and make sure that, we cover any demand that is there. It's not something that is going to replace our wholesale business, 100% no. We still have a big relationship with our retailers to make sure that we cover that and we make sure that they first have the stock for these products. But then after, if we see that it's a very high demand and that they quickly run out of stock, then that's where we play a big role with our backfill functionality and being sure that we are there on time and in full is the very important topic. So that's the whole future that we're looking at. I think there are so many use cases that you can take out of this functionality that we actually just, I think, scratching the surface. As I said earlier, we're still discovering, and that's what I like in the marketplace business. I think we put it for one use case, which was really for these high demand product, let's call it this way. But I think in the future, you can use these functionalities for much more things to make sure that you keep the control as a brand on where you sell, but even more where you increase your consumer experience.
Yep.
You don't want to have these cancellations. You don't want to have these orders that are going through the wrong partners, or that you sell out everything on the partner, even though you were supposed to sell it also on your own e-com shop, which happened also in the past. So there's a lot of things that we can see in the future and how we can actually use that. So a lot of things in front of us to think about.
Definitely excited for this. I personally hope that we don't see many Eros 404 in the future, and that we can roll it out to many more brands. And we also generated a bit of interest today with you. Many thanks for joining. Thank you very much.